Hi everyone, and welcome to video number 3 of the Tolbooth's series of videos on songwriting. My name's Andrew, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about how to choose chords for your song. For this, I'm going to be looking at the lyrical ideas that Claire came up with in the first video, and I'm also going to be using the song structure idea that Kenny explained in video number 2. Now you can see I have a guitar here, which is the instrument I would usually use when I'm writing a song, and it's the one I'll be using today. But don't worry if you can't play guitar, it'll be possible to transfer everything I'm going to show you today on the guitar onto a piano or a keyboard or a ukulele or any number of musical instruments. And if you can't play any musical instruments at all, then that's fine too. If that's the case, I'd encourage you to go and look at another excellent Tolbooth video which shows you how to play really simple chords on the piano. All the chords I'll be talking about today, in fact, and the link to that video is below this one. And if you don't own a keyboard or piano, then there's lots of free virtual online pianos that you can use. So please don't think for a second that you need to own a musical instrument or be an expert on the guitar or piano or any other instrument to understand what I'll be talking about today in this video. So let's get started. So choosing the right chords for your song is really important because they will put in place a lot of the emotional groundwork of your song. Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. I'm going to sing the melody of the chorus of George Ezra's song Shotgun, which goes like this. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. So you can hear it's the exact same melody repeated over and over again. And on its own, it sounds nice enough, but it could quickly get a little bit dull and repetitive without anything else going on. So now I'm going to hum that exact same melody and play the chords that George Ezra uses in this song. Okay, here we go. Ba 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 So you can hear that even though I'm singing the same tune, the same melody over and over, the chords I'm playing underneath that melody have a huge effect on how that melody comes across. Now it's worth mentioning here that George Ezra is using 3 major chords and 1 minor chord. Major chords tend to sound happy, quite confident, quite sure of themselves, and the predominance of major chords here help give the song the happy, upbeat feel that it has. So here's the exact same melody again, but this time I'm going to play completely different chords from the ones that George Ezra uses. I'm going to use 3 minor chords. Now minor chords tend to sound a bit darker, a bit sadder than major chords, so have a listen to how these minor chords change the emotional quality of how the song comes across, even though it's the exact same melody that I'm singing over it. Okay, so here we go. Ba 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 ba. So even though I'm singing the exact same melody again, the minor chords have now given the song a very different emotional quality. It all sounds a bit darker, a bit more ominous, all because I chose minor chords instead of major chords. And that's definitely worth keeping in mind as you choose chords for your song. Major chords can help make a song sound happy, minor chords can help make a song sound sad. So for this video, I'm going to stick to 6 chords, all of which are in the key of C major. These chords are very easy to play on the piano or keyboard, and again there's an excellent Tolbooth video on how to play these chords on the piano, which you'll find in a link below this video. So our first chord in the key of C major is C major. And then going up the alphabet, we've got D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. So we've got 3 major chords in there, the chords that sound quite happy and confident: C major, F major, G major, and we've got 3 minor chords, which are the ones that sound a bit darker, a bit more ominous. D minor, E minor, and A minor. So now I know what 6 chords are at my disposal for this particular song example. I'm going to look at the lyrical ideas that Claire came up with in our first Tolbooth video to see if I can figure out what kind of emotional tone I want to set for this song, and to start experimenting with different combinations of these chords to see what ones might work best in helping me set that tone. So here's Claire's lyrics from the first video. Now, the initial songwriting idea we were given for these videos was the theme of connection, and in particular connection amidst everything we're going through just now. And by that I mean the global pandemic, not being able to see friends and family, social distancing, shops being shut, etc. And looking at Claire's lyrics just now, I can definitely see that she's writing about human connection. There's a lot of happiness and joy here, but there's also little hints at what's going on in the wider world, particularly in the chorus lyrics. So overall, I'm going to try and use chords that give a positive and happy emotional tone to the song, and for that I'm definitely going to use some major chords. But I also want to express musically that all is not particularly well in the world, so a minor chord or 2 in there would definitely not go amiss. So I'm going to start with the verse chords, and to keep things simple for this particular song example, I'm going to start with the chord C major, because that's the chord we're in. And again, to keep things simple, I'm going to use 4 chords for the verse and just repeat those 4 chords over and over. Now the 3 major chords, C and F and G, all work really well together, and countless rock and roll and blues and country and pop songs have been written just with those 3 chords. So for instance, here's Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Gonna go up to F. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Back to C, crying all the time. To G. No, you ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't no friend of mine. So C, F and G work really well together. A minor is another chord that you can throw in there that works really well with these 3 major chords. And here's another chord progression that's been used a million times. I'm going to start with C, then G, A minor, and F. And if you've ever seen the song 4-Chord Song by Axis of Awesome on YouTube, they take that same chord progression and they sing loads and loads and loads of famous songs over the top of those chords, just to make the point that this chord progression is used all the time. Now it's unlikely that you're going to find a chord progression that has never been used before in the history of popular music, but you can choose to not use a chord progression that you know has been used a million times before, just to add your own creative slant on things. So having played around with a few options, I've decided to use this chord progression for our song. It's going to be C, E minor, F and G, and it's going to sound like this. C, E minor, F and G. And then I'll just repeat. Okay, so I've got 3 major chords in there, which definitely give a lot of musical space for the happiness that's in Claire's lyrics, but I've got the E minor chord in there as well, just to add a bit of dark emotional texture to the song. So for this next section, let's remind yourself of Kenny's suggested song structure. So here's Kenny waving hello, and the song structure that he came up with was an intro, and then a verse, and then a chorus, and then another verse, and then a chorus, and then a middle 8, and then a double chorus, and then an outro. So for this particular song example, I'm going to keep things quite simple for myself, and I'm going to use the same chords in the intro and the outro as I'm using in my verse. So the next thing I need to think about is the chorus. Now, as Kenny explained in his video, lyrically, the chorus tends to be kind of quite a straightforward message. It's the main point of the song. So that if you took every other section of the song away and all you had left was the chorus, you would still know exactly what the song's about. So I'm going to reflect that musically by keeping things simple on my end as well, and I'm just going to go with my 3 major chords, and I'm going to play them like this. So C, another C, F, G, C, C, F, G. So keeping it quite simple, but it works, it's quite effective. The only other part of the song I really need to think about now is the middle 8. Now, again, as Kenny said in his video, the middle 8 is there to kind of keep things fresh in a song, to bring something different in from what's gone before. So my verse and my chorus both start with the chord C major, so I definitely want to stay away from that. I haven't used D minor yet, so I think I'm going to use that. And I know that the next section of the song, the double chorus, starts with a C major, so I perhaps don't want to end my middle 8 with a C major, just so there's an obvious shift between the middle 8 and the chorus. So after a bit of trial and error behind the scenes, this is what I've come up with. It's a D minor to start with, to A minor, back to D minor, to G. And that G sets things up quite nicely for the chorus, because the verse ends in a G, so to end the middle 8 with a G sounds quite familiar, quite comforting, and we know it's going to work. And it also fits in with the lyrical theme of the song. So I'm going to play my verse and my chorus and my middle 8 together, just so you can hear the difference between them. So here's the verse, starting in C, to E minor, then F, to G, and then the chorus starts with a C, another C, then F, G, and then when I go to the middle 8, it'll be D minor, to A minor, D minor, back to our G, which sets things up nicely for going back to the double chorus on our C, and so on. Okay, so that's the chords we've chosen for our song. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. Just one more thing before I go. I hope you have fun with this. Please don't be afraid of a bit of trial and error, and don't feel like you've got to stick to the chords that I've played in this video. When I started writing songs, I knew very few chords on the guitar, and I didn't really even know what a lot of those chords were called. I just moved my fingers around on the fretboard, experimented with different chord shapes until I came up with a sound that I liked. So trust your ears, don't be afraid to take inspiration from songwriters you admire, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and to break the rules. Just find the sound that you want for your song. Okay, I hope that's all been helpful, and I'll see you later.